Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It is Patrick here at Eggnoc Poker. So we are at 25 NL, I believe. Yes, we are. Carrying on with the 2NL to 200 series, and we will be doing some 500 as well. Um, just very quickly, again, as always, guys, please make sure you do like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you to everyone already who has. And let's get started. So, 25 NL. Still going to be massively exploit based, but I will be starting to do a few more bits and bobs in more of a strategic fashion, at least. We'll just be starting to maybe perhaps give people some credit one way or another for perhaps at least trying to play the game. So we will be looking out. We'll be trying to play a little bit more strategic and have a lot more traps and a lot more like GTO sizes and a bit more of a mindset of the strategic. But we're still going to be very against most of the player pool. We're still going to be pretty like understanding to the fashion of which the stake plays, which is still going to be extremely sort of weak and tight and like over aggressive in the wrong spots and just overall bad, I guess, one way or another. There we go. Ace Queen off. We 3-bet here. We will be defending versus any more aggression. Don't know if that's a complete dust. I don't know if NL25 we should mainly be folding to 4-bet still. I'm actually not sure, to tell you the truth. But we see how we go. We could chuck in a little sort of thin mergy value bet here, I suppose, or we could check. I really don't mind, to be honest with you. We don't 3-bet deuces, threes, fives. Villain will have those pure. We do 3-bet ace-4 suited. Villain should have ace-4 suited. We've got all the best over pairs. Continuing really small and checking is both completely fine. Like it doesn't really make too much difference. I would expect Villain to be betting in a small fact with a small sizing here. It should not be going massive because I still have all the traps, I still have all the best hands, and this allows me to play perfectly. But we can essentially cool down with ace queen high because we just beat loads of hands. We beat all the 9-10 suited, beat the jack 10 suited, beat the king 10 suited that may bluff. It's quite easy to actually cool down. Also, with the ace of diamonds, we actually block his give ups, so it means he's got more bluffs in range. So really, this guy's value is going to come from like queens and jacks and 10 not queens and jacks, sorry, but like 9s and 10s and 8s, quad 7s, 5s, 3s, deuces, aces, 4s, things like that. I'll be honest with you, one thing I'm going to do exploitatively immediately is I already know that this size is not a bluff. This is going to be like 8s, so I'm just going to literally try and bin 8s. Like, good luck. This is not a protected size. This is, oh, I think you have ace high and I'm going to try and make you either fold or I think I can get a bit of thin value from you. And I'm going to say, fuck you, bro, to be quite frank. I know this guy's got 6s, I know he's got 8s, and I don't think he's going to call. I think he's fucked himself with his size. There you go. This is an exploitative thing, because really we should just either call or fold. But I literally think I'm just going to bin the cunt. I know he's got a pair of 6s, a pair of 8s, and I don't think he'll call off. To be honest. He's supposed to have a larger sizing, have bluffs, and then target my like ace 5, ace 3s, and then some of my strongest ace highs will still technically call also. But I literally know this guy's got a hand like ace 3 suited, ace 5 suited, pocket 6s. I mean, I don't know if pocket 8s folds. Maybe 8s is a bad example, but like the weakest, the basically the weakest one pair region. I know this is not a bluff, and as you can see in his tanking, it's literally not. It's just going for ultra thin value against what's perceived to be ace high, and I'm just telling him to go fuck himself. Pretty much. There you go. So basically, just one thing I want to say with that is because remember, as a disclaimer, these videos are merely how to get out of these stakes like ASAP and play the extreme end of strategic and the extreme end of exploitative style play. I'm going to start min opening again at NR25. I know but just genuinely, it's like I actually can range bet this. I can check it. It doesn't actually matter too much. This is a recreational player. I don't mind betting or checking here. But the thing is, it's like what I'm trying to say is, it's like you're still at these kind of like levels where people are just fucking awful. I don't. We block pocket 7s here. We block ace queen. So this is kind of weird. Villain really shouldn't kind of have a hand here. I'm really kind of hoping we've induced some kind of mega bluff, or we're just dead, absolutely dead to like K7s here. I have no idea what Villain has. No idea. Like, no idea what just happened. This is the weirdest hand I've ever played in my entire life. But what I'm saying is, like, against like a really good opponent and in a decent stake, right? You know, you just have to play basically a solid fashion and not sort of force over folds and just play well, to be honest with you. So our hand would have either called to bluff catch or folded. But I knew immediately that that guy sizing is so capped and it's literally just going to go, oh, you've checked, you've 3-bet, you've checked back and called. then you know you've got ace king, you've got ace queen. I just have to bet small, you know, and things like this. But like they don't bluff small. What he wants me to do is call, and then he goes, I've got like a 4, I've got like pocket 5s, like this, and they don't protect those ranges. So like that's an immediate exploit you can take. Honestly, it is that if he had a hand like tens and jacks, right? He doesn't go this like. I don't think they do that with the, you know. Do you see what I'm saying? Like if they have like the bigger end, like 4 houses, 9 tens, jacks, they also don't protect it either. They want to just go big and just hope you call, kind of thing. When they go small, it's always thin value. I promise you this, it's always thin. When you verse a professional, that kind of size is just going to be protected. Like if they're going to pick sizes, they're going to be protected. But against people at NL25, it's actually just going to be what it says on the tin. So like it's easy to kind of massively deviate on the extreme end. Often it really is. It's only when people kind of catch on and start trying to trap you and do things that it gets a bit funky. But it's like it's not happening. Like it's not really. It's not like it's not really like a concern, really, to some respect. Polar here on table 1 now with the queen, blocking king queen of hearts, blocking like king, blocking some flush draw, continues attacking like these medium pairs and some ace highs. We can overbet this. I like an overbet, polar overbet. Table 2, I think now I just have to sort of check down this ace 9 and lose, basically. It's not really one of the candidates I want to kind of use as a bet in the barrel. The question is, like, technically speaking, do we have showdown value? It is kind of questionable. They love the 9, don't they? Love the 9. Jack-10 suit can defend. Against 9, though, we're just going to fold because it's just ridiculous child size. I don't know, to tell you the truth. I do believe I actually have some showdown value in this pool. I do actually believe. If this guy's calling 2-3 suited, then we absolutely have showdown value in that respect. I would think, if he's calling that wide. Can 3-bet sometimes with the 10-4 suited. Gonna defend my 7s multi-way. Closer spot here. I don't mind calling. It's kind of prefer having 7s with a heart in this node because this guy's the caller rather than the better. Those are probably a little bit more likely to have something, in my opinion, but he could also be betting because everyone's checked. But the question comes, if we call, what turns do we want to see? What rivers do we want to see? So what I'll do is I'll just call with 7s with a heart there, for example, because we're merely bluff catching, but we're unable to continue against like multiple streets. So I don't mind like just getting away from it immediately and just saying sometimes I'll have a heart, and that enables me to play a little bit better post streets, like turn and river, basically the way we say it. King Queen Suited would be calling a 3-bet. I'm assuming that people, I could be completely wrong, right? I don't play NL25, so I don't fucking know, to be honest. But I'm assuming people do have some 3-bets that are not just like the nuts, for example. So yeah, we'll be defending the Jack suited in position. There is an argument, complex theory here, to technically lead this board at a high frequency for a low bet. I don't know if that works out very well versus people at these stakes who have got no fucking clue what that means. I also kind of like other candidates. Like I could have King Jack of clubs. I could have like some combos of hands with a diamond. I could have some gut shots of weaker parts of my range. Really, Villain should be doing a lot of checking. I don't know if Villain just kind of AFK stabs because he's got no idea what's going on. But leading ultra small there is fine, and check folding is completely fine. Check folding is a little bit more generalized theory, and then technically speaking, you want to kind of lead for a very small size quite often. It's actually the other end. With my deuce here, I guess, to be honest, I'm just going to check down. If this guy triple checks, I might try and sound like a hypocrite and go for a small bet against ace high myself. He can still have 3s, 6s, 5s. That's about it, really, unless he's rivered a 7 of some sort, like ace 7. Again, what you'll find here, this is a thing, by the way, is this guy will not be bluffing for this size. Like, he won't be bluffing. So I just want to say this is really important. I'm going to fold. We don't beat anything and he's not bluffing. When people like, the people are too c-bet trigger happy because they don't understand and don't really, like, they don't get the game. They don't understand that there's a turn in the river and you can check raise, you can check call, you can do multiple things on different streets. They're just very frontal. So it's like, I want to c-bet the flop and win because I'm bluffing, or I want to c-bet the flop because I've got equity, or I want to c-bet the flop because I've got a good hand. That's it. That's all they see. That's all they see in terms of the game. So when they check, it's very showdown orientated, or it's extremely trap heavy, but it's mostly showdown orientated. So when they, so especially like players these levels, what you'll find is when they don't bet like flops and turns and then go back and bet like half pot or third pot and things, it's not really a bluff of any sort. It's going to be value, but it's going to be thinner value. So basically what you want to start doing, this is a really nice exploit, is you can basically do loads of overfolding. Don't go into the game tree and be like, oh, it's got to be a call, beat this, and he could have been bluffing. They're not doing that. They're not finding the bluffs, and they're not finding like the correct lines. So what you want to do is basically attack the weakness or just fold. You don't want to like have loads of like kind of like correct calls, if that makes sense. You kind of want to just like blow up. You just want to literally just go 2x pot and take it down like 95% of the time, and then fold like loads of folds. Honestly, so for example, there I wouldn't be surprised if villains actually just got like a 7, something like that, or it's not going to be a bluff when he checks flop, checks turn. See, just not. It's not really going to happen. Not thrilled with this whole situation here. This guy's, I don't know what this guy's got. I never know what these people have. I really don't. No fucking clue. Not many jacks like this turn either, but I don't know. We've got a pair and open ender. There's some flush draws villain should have. Villain should be going massive here. We're checking like this thing, this like half pot is toilet paper. I don't know what this is. To be honest with you, I've got no idea. It's just gonna be. It should be going way bigger than this or checking. You have check raises and have bluffs and whatever. Anyway. King Queen here, we can do some calling. We do prefer 4-betting and folding, but there is also some calling. I actually have an RNG on my HUD today. I'm using caption, so 12 is just going to be a fold, actually. But calling and 4-betting, like, both completely fine. It performs very well. The better the opponent / the more aggressive, more calling becomes. Like the EV of calling goes up, and the weaker, tighter the opponent, the more folding. The more EV goes up in folding. To be honest with you, 4-betting kind of goes both ways. It's just nice to have some kind of like, they're not really merges, but they're just hands that can sort of 4-bet. Just to make hand, like for example, you can 4-bet king queen, fold out ace 10 off, things like that. Hey, this guy's a friend of the stream. Pretty cool. Throw something at him. Let's give him a top hat. Hello, sir. Couple of options on table 2. Because we're in early position, you generally favor small to medium sizes, and when you get later on the double rate, you start overbetting and potting and doing some nasty things. Checking is also completely fine. I've rolled a c-bet, so we will be betting small. With the ace-9 with the ace of diamonds, even without the diamond, we still have to continue the turn because villain's still just going to have any one diamond type combos, and this hand's going to want to just call the river. We have top pair with a diamond blocker, so we're just going to want to call. We're blocking flushes, we're blocking like top set of aces. When villain checks, can we get value? Against the best in the universe, we would want to start value betting this for a small size as a block, and then start developing some smaller sizes. We don't want to do that here. We don't want to bet small and induce like over spews. So I'm just going to check back and probably win most of the time. I will make king 10 suited. I was talking actually timed out table 2 because I really, after betting the flop, actually would have preferred to have actually overbet the turn, which is annoying. Facing lead, I actually will call this. This is going to look weird and fishy, but our hand blocks quite a lot of value. We block ace king, which is low frequency. We block king queen. We block queen jack. We block ace jack. We unblock 9-10. We unblock all the low to medium spade draws. So it's actually quite a good candidate to call. But I would have preferred an overbet as played in my line. For betting the flop, I would have preferred to continue overbetting the turn, but I timed out because I'm a fish. So open king 10, we check back this time. Villain leads small. I think we just have a clear call and then have a clear river call as well. Just very, very simple. After checking back the flop, we're under reps. We block straights. We block all the best hands. Easy. When villain checks, again, these are the weird lines like donk check. Bet turn check. I kind of expect this just to be something like a hand similar to mine, but I can't really not bet. It's going to try for a really small block size. Obviously, we can get called by like ace queen, we can get called by queen jack, we can get called by like queen 8 suited and stuff. There's hands we can get called by. Villain had 10-9 offsuit, which shouldn't really be in there. Randomly merging the turn for absolutely no reason. Couldn't tell you what their thought process is because I really don't know, to tell you the truth. 3-betting the ace 10 off, mostly playing. So generally at the high rake environments, the low stake games, you want to be playing quite a lot of 3-bet fold or fold strategies. But you can still the higher you go, the lower the rake, the better the players. You will want to start developing Pio and so on will show you that you will want to start developing a bit of a calling range, and then you play. But it's very complex, and it's very it's very difficult, quite tough and complex to start developing a small blind calling range, and it's not something you want to. It's not something you really need or want in a microstakes game. You can just 3-bet a fold, and it does make the game infinitely easier to play. It really does. We've checked down here. This is very close. I'll be honest, I'm tempted. This is actually a good catcher, but I'm going to fold this, I think. I don't like the small overbet from a short stack recreational who didn't stab the turn. Like, I just, yeah. I kind of, I'm always in this mindset of, like, I feel like, I could be wrong, but I feel like they stab turns when they're trying to, like, win the pot, rather than, like, check it all the way down to the river and then go, like, huge. Maybe if he went small or something, but, like, I don't know. It feels a bit kind of such. But as you can see, it is often very difficult to know where you're at in some of these spots, because people, especially if you play like kind of like a correct strategy rather than just kind of betting and often, and you know, protecting ranges and stuff, because people kind of do things for no fucking reason. Like they just do things. So we've got top pair, obviously scary turn because the big blinds can have a lot of eights, but this is why we check back hands like queen 10. We block 10 8 hearts, we got queen 8 suited. We unblock quite a lot of hands, we will just be winning a lot. I think mostly we want to now be developing like a kind of middling road strategy between like I would think, I could be wrong, but I would think something like half pot and check would be good here in this line. Get a bit of value and protection. We don't want to block, we don't want to nuke. And this is very odd from this villain. Check back, definitely. Check back and really large. Not sure, to be honest with you. Not too sure. And there is also argument for just checking back also, because obviously he's got more 8 advantage. But these people don't have enough 8s. That's what I'm saying. These people don't have enough. These people don't have enough traps and things like this. So, gonna squeeze the 8s. Calling exploitatively would have probably been fine also, because it's recreational. Guess we just call with the ace 8. This is what I'm saying. I don't really understand what people are doing, because it's like checking back ace jack. It's okay, but it's a bit of a mistake. Betting big and then betting half. I don't know. It just feels like you want to be putting loads of money in with ace jack. I don't know why we're like checking, going like big, but then going back for half. It's just like a weird fish thing. To be honest, it is very, very odd. I'm going to be range betting this flop for very, very small. Unfortunately, like this is what's going to happen very often is like with these hands, you range bet like 10%, 20%. Well, it's more like kind of like 20%, 15, 20%. And then these candidates just give up a lot, because you've just got a lot of candidates like suited ace x. You got like king x, like king jack off, king 10 suited, king queen, king jack, king 5 suited, ace jack, aces, ace king. Like you got loads of hands that you actually have in your range that you kind of don't appreciate. Whereas eights, you know. And then when you check and these potatoes like start fucking death blasting, I mean, it's actually not a terrible size, but like they always do it. They always just go massive and bin themselves. But most of the time they are just value betting. But it's nothing really you can do. The whole idea of having the small range bet there is just denial against some hands that can't really continue, like 5, 6 of spades and stuff that can bet the turn and bluff you, or bet the flop, sorry, and bluff you off your hands. Also, we're just gonna because we've got a nut advantage, we just get to bet our entire range, and we'll have loads of really good hands in that range. That's basically the kind of logic behind it. Because you might think at home, oh, well, why do you bet so small and then check, because that looks really weak. Well, that's fine. With eights, it looks like pocket eights. But I also just have my entire range that could do the same. Why can't I check? Why can't I bet very small on the flop with a good hand and check the turn? Why am I not allowed to do that? That's the difference in the game trade. When you actually do start incorporating those types of things, all of a sudden the game gets quite interesting and quite nasty. Whereas when people, this is the problem with people at these levels, to sound entitled again, but it's true, is these people don't protect those lines. So for example, if I said, right, I'm an NL25 losing rig, I've got pocket eights, I decide to squeeze, fine. And then, okay, I range bet this board. I just go, oh, I've got eights. I'll bet small and then I'll give up. Whereas what you should do is just go, right, I'm going to range bet the flop, and then this hand is going to check the turn most of the time, because villain will interact with that turn a decent amount, and we don't need to have eights as a bluff. We've got much better and much worse hands to continue with. That's the kind of thought process change that should be used. Also, I think in the first place, like people just not aggressive as they need to be, and then when they are aggressive, they're just over being too aggressive with candidates that are just no good. Not looking at blocker scores. So table 2, we should be pure checking. ultra high checking at least range on this texture, if not pure. Against a recreational, it makes it interesting because I would think he's just going to bet 100% of the time because I've checked. But because of that logic, I am going to at least peel one with ace 10. This is not a range. This is just going to be a fish. So this guy's got like jack 9 off. He's got like queen jack off. So we're just miles ahead. Problem is, he will blast us off our equity a bunch of the time, but that's fine because we will have hands here that can keep continuing. For example. Anyway, he snap checks the queen, so he's not got a queen. This is recreational logic. Sorry, I'm just thinking of sizes. Go 40% on this one. Rolled bigger on this one, table 1. I'm going to go for a nice chunky bet on table 2. I don't think he's going to fold any kind of one pair type hand. So he just randomly stabbed and then folded. There you go. But you do have to be somewhat wary when you've got like, I don't want to play super strategic there with like queen high, or jack high or 10 high. Say I've got 10-9 suited, for example. I check there because I say, oh, I've got to tip my range. And then he bets his entire range because he just goes, you've checked. That means you've got ace high. I can start betting into you. Things like this, right? Then he's going to force you to fold. Whereas you can bet with your weaker hands and win the pot more often. Also, one thing that micros in these low stakes is you'll find that when people check, they're very weak. Whereas when you start playing better people who check doesn't mean anything. Check just means they've checked. So especially when they bet flops and check trap lions, things like that. Game tree gets quite nasty in that respect, but you don't see any of that here. People blast and blast and blast, and when they check, they're just waving the white flag, basically. I'm just going to try and get to showdown with ace jack with the jack of clubs. With a club in my hand, I would have to call the turn, I would believe, and then you would do some calling, folding, raising, and so on a river club, depending on the card. And now we're just going to go to showdown. I'm not trying to get value out my ace jack high here. I'm trying to get to showdown. It's nice to actually see someone try to go to showdown for a change. Limping here, jamming here against 20 bigs, and opening to like 3 is all kind of fine, to be honest, with queens. Open jamming against a short stack is actually quite a good thing because when they pick up any ace, when they pick up any pocket pair, when they pick up any suited combination, they do tend to call off, which is quite nice for you. Or you can open to a normal generic size. Limping is also okay, I suppose, to try and keep him in. I'm looking at queens, I suppose, in a bit of a vacuum, but trying to find the best way to sort of make money from someone who's on the ropes. Easy fold here with the 10-3. We got 2 recreationals here in the blind, so I absolutely want to be calling if this doesn't get 3-bet. I want to get these guys behind because they're going to be where the money comes from. Also, 5s against UTG is quite nice. Again, like having a button calling range is a thing. It's a little bit less of a thing in micro stakes, but it's very, very good when you've got loads of wrecks behind. So do start calling more. You do have a somewhat capped range, but you would protect this call with like ace queen, some ace kings, some 10s, some jacks, even queens to some extent. So you would protect this calling range. You wouldn't just be like 8s and 7s and like jack 10 suited and stuff. Just checking down the 5s. Chucking down the 5s. Could bluff the turn. I don't actually hate bluffing. If I was going to bluff, it would be with a hand like this without a diamond, technically. Because 5s with a diamond would actually like to check back and realize against like 9s with no diamond, for example, which it can outdraw, and it doesn't want to get raised and stuff anyway. I am going to bluff this, I think. I think my only size is polar, so I will be going quite big. Bear in mind, we will be getting called by hands that have 1 pair and diamond, like 10s with a diamond, like ace jack with the ace of diamonds, like 10s with a diamond. So we will have to bluff the river as well. And if a 4th diamond comes, we will give up. I will not bluff a 4th diamond. That's the strategy. That's the logic. So yeah. So 5s there is not showdown anymore. I don't want to. Didn't really have a need to attack it on the flop that much. They're not like on the flop. I'd like to have a diamond. On the turn, I'd actually not like to have a diamond. So kind of the weird and wonderful way the game works. Multi-way, I'm not going to be c-betting. But remember, what you do is you check here, but you're not checking for weakness. You're just checking because your range doesn't interact with the board. And then you develop a check call, check fold, check raising strategy. So, for example, I can have king, queen of spades here and check call or check raise. You see, that's where the game gets fun. Honestly, that is where the game gets fun. Because people just think, oh, I need to bet, or if I check, then, oh, he's going to bet, and I'm done. Well, why do you protect the fucking checks? Why do you just have some check raises? You know, like do these kinds of things. Haha! All of a sudden the curtain opens. And I guess it's so much fun as well. I think we have to call here with Jack 10 suited against the small blind, I believe. Also, I don't think it's a pure defend off the top of my head, but I want to defend it. We've only got a couple. We've got like 2 minutes left, so I do want to defend. I do think though that folding here at some frequency is completely fine. Also, just one thing, just when people are tighter in general, like people don't have as many bluffs as they're supposed to, it's completely fine to have some like kind of overfolds more often or higher frequency folds. So we don't have kings, we don't have queens, we have fours, we have king queen, we have like ace jack of diamonds, but we're a massive nut disadvantage here. We will raise some king queens, we will raise some pocket fours, but we have quite a lot of calls. I kind of want to call this in position, use my position as leverage, and be able to attack like some turns and rivers in position. So for example, if a diamond comes, I can still bluff this candidate, for example. You know, it's not terrible. So my range facing check here will want to be very polarized. I'll be want to betting straights. I'll be starting to want to bet ace queen, things like this, and I will have some checks. I will also have some hands like 7-8 of clubs, which I can start binning some hands with. Start with a big size on the turn. My value is mainly consisting of ace queen, jack 10, pocket fours. Those are the larger portions of my range, and I'll have some flush draws. I will be doing a tremendous amount of checking as well. I actually do believe I wouldn't be surprised if my size actually isn't optimal. If it's better to go like really big, like close, maybe not over bet because he's got aces now and ace king. But like I don't like the idea of having a block there to some extent because I feel like I don't have many hands that want to bet, and when they do, I would just want to be putting loads of money in or like attacking and putting pressure on some of his hands that are worse. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe like 80% is a good size, perhaps, and then some checks, maybe pot even is better or more optimal. But there are tons of checks. I would think there's loads of checking. We're at a massive disadvantage to aces, kings, queens, ace, king, queens, and so on. But we will definitely get value with jack 10. So you know, he's got a set, he's got two pair, he's not folding and so on, pair and flush, so we can get a lot of money. So I do like betting. I'm going to sit out on the next big blind. I've already pre-rolled a 13 here, so if we get 3-bet, we will have to fold, unfortunately. I know, content and so on. But there you go. Right then, guys. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the next one, which will be 50. So see you soon. Bye.